we were linked to a new quarterback here, guys. Now, I will say this. This has been going all over social media. This has not been going over the main channels yet, so it's not like this is like a Jordan Ronan or a Pat Traina or something like that saying this. But this is all over social media, people rumbling about their whispers they're hearing supposedly about this being a thing. And we know this guy hit the trade market last year, and to no avail. Nobody basically took him because of this contract. And guys, that's Matthew Stafford being rumored as a potential person to go here to the New York Giants. And that's a little crazy. To me, that's a little bit crazy. I did not think that we'd hear rumors of a quarterback trade. I really didn't. Keep in mind, November 5th, guys, is the deadline. So there's still a couple weeks to go in this whole thing. But the Rams are going nowhere fast. They have a quarterback who's 36 years old, and they're looking at it going, we rebuilding here? What are we doing? You can't rebuild with a 36-year-old quarterback. So, which also begs the question of why we want a 36-year-old quarterback, because we're also rebuilding. So there's a catch-22 in this whole entire scenario here. So let's go over the stats, though, first for Matt Stafford on the year here. 67.4 completion percentage, 1,238 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in 5 games. Keep in mind the Rams had their bye week already. It's not that they missed a game. Now, you also have to keep in mind Puka Nacua has not played since week 1. Cooper Kupp has only played in 2 of those 5 games. And Matthew Stafford is also getting sacked at a very high 8.38% of passing plays, which is really the second highest in his career. And he started playing back when there was leather helmets. So he's been on for a while now, okay, guys?
It
feels like he's been playing forever, right? I mean, he's what? Was he like, I want to say 2008 was his rookie year?
Probably.
Yeah. I want to say
sounds about right.
I'd have to look it up. I knew it was a couple of years after Eli. So, but yeah.
There's been a lot of bad years with the Lions, so.
Yeah, 100% here. I'm trying. 2009 NFL draft, so I was close. So now the first question you got to ask is, again, his age. Is he in decline? Because 36 years old, you ain't no spring chicken, guys. Trust it from a 42-year-old here. 36. I remember that was 6 years ago. I was feeling every single ache in my body at that point, and I wasn't getting hit by 350-pound men for a living. Like there's a difference people sometimes forget between a regular 36-year-old guy and a 36-year-old guy who's had massive people falling on top of him for the last 15 years. There is a huge difference. He has not thrown for 25 touchdowns or more since 2021. That was their Super Bowl year. That was his first year with the Rams. That was also the year that Cooper Kupp had his massive year at that point, like 1,900 yards, I think, or something like that, ridiculous that
something
year.
Like that.
So it's like you also can question, was part of his renaissance, so to speak, because Cooper Kupp was so good that year? Or was Cooper Kupp's amazing year because Matthew Stafford was so good that year? You don't know. It's probably a combination of both.
I was about to say, it's definitely both.
Yeah, I understand. It's still a thing to have. He's also been dealing with injuries, obviously, the last couple of years, as most 36-year-old quarterbacks have. His hip, his elbow, and his back just since last season alone. That being said,
and he's concussed.
That being said, he hit 2 concussions too. But I don't call the injuries. That's a separate thing. It's not injury per se.
It's an injury to the brain. Now it's not an injury.
It's just no, but I mean, that could happen to anybody. You just get hit the wrong side. It's not because he got concussion because he's 36 years old.
Oh yeah. I mean,
that's what I mean. That's just he gets smacked in the wrong part of the brain, basically. At that point, I hate to be light about it. They're not like nothing, but it's not the same as like a back, a hip, a hand.
Hey, listen, I hurt my back. I had back surgery at 32, so.
I get it. Yeah, back, nothing to mess with. That's for damn sure. But again, he hasn't missed a game this year. He played in 15 last year, and they literally just benched him for the last week of the season for no apparent reason, basically. So it wasn't like an injury thing. So he's basically missed one game due to injury in the last, year and a quarter or whatever you want to call it at that point there. So, I wouldn't say injuries have been an issue, but injuries are cropping up. That's for sure. The other thing is cap-wise, because that's always the question: is can we this work cap space-wise? Assuming that this wouldn't come with a new deal or an extension, which I can't believe it would. His base salary is going to be anywhere from $23 to $26 million each season over the next 3 years. All the guaranteed money would have been paid for by the Rams before the trade. Same as when you cut a player. If you trade a player, the guaranteed money becomes due right then and there. That's the way that works. So, yeah, not that bad at that point there, because that means you can move on from any point with no penalty whatsoever, guys. So let's say it's not
Yeah.
working out. It's not like it is right now with Daniel Jones, where we're stuck with him this year because of the contract. You can move on. Like, okay, listen, he slipped. He's not the same player. Gone. Bye.
Yeah.
We got a different player. We want to be the starting quarterback now. Is younger. We think has potential. Gone. That's how simple it is.
Yeah. Come to the Giants. Train your next. Train like it's a perfect bridge quarterback situation.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the intriguing part about this whole thing to me, is that you can succeed in the present potentially, at least more than you are now, while having a guy that, by all accounts, the people who played with them, is a great guy. Again, I don't know him personally. I'm not pretending I know these people personally, but by all accounts, when you listen to people talk about him, they all have just nice things to say about him.
Yeah,
and he seems like the perfect guy to be that bridge quarterback there. So he's a leader. He's an upgrade over Daniel Jones. I know the stats don't necessarily show it, but again, here's the weird thing. This is you wouldn't be able to say this a couple of years ago. Daniel Jones has more talent around him than Matt Stafford does right now.
You're not wrong for saying that. It was
the
just crazy to say.
Better. They don't have a neighbors. Even they don't have a Wan'Dale Robinson right now.
No, they got nothing. They're really fighting for just anything.
Yeah.
They're number 3, so they're number 1 right now.
Yeah, I think Atwell is their number 1 receiver right now, and that's like a guy who usually does like 500 yards a season. Like, that's not, like I was saying, though. We have better weapons around us. I mean, the running game is decent for Los Angeles as well, but we have decent running backs as well, even though they haven't played like it recently. But that's a whole separate issue. At least except for Tyrone, the one, Tracy, the 1 week. But again, this contract wouldn't prevent us getting a successor. The big question really this whole thing is, how much would this trade cost? That's my big question. That's like, you're telling me, like, if the Rams call up, and I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the Rams GM off the top of my head here, but let's say he calls up and say, "Hello, Joe Shane, how would you like to have Matthew Stafford? All it'll cost you is a 1." I'd be like, no.
Yeah. Cost you number 3. Oh,
he's a short term. Yeah, that's where, and Rob and I were talking before the show. That's what we kind of said, like a 3, okay. If you want a 3 and a 5 or something like that, like say you want 3 this year and a 5 next year, something like that, okay. I'd be okay with that as well. I'm not giving up one of my prime picks, my day 1, day 2 picks, because getting Matthew Stafford, hypothetically, does not preclude, to use a large word here, preclude us from still getting the quarterback of the future in this upcoming draft.
No.
Because he's 36 years old, guys. He'll be 37 next year, that means. So, guess what? After 37 is 38. That doesn't get better over time. I know, it's crazy math.
I was about to say, you can do math.
This is like Common Core over here. So, like, if you get a rookie quarterback, let's say this upcoming draft, that means that you could let Matt Stafford play for the year, let this kid sit on the bench for a while, learn from Matt Stafford and how he does it. I'm sorry, I hate calling him Matthew. I never always call him Matthew. It's Matt, right?
Pretty sure he was always Matt Stafford.
I always hear Matthew Stafford. It just sounds so proper. Like he's the quarterback. But it's like, you can sit behind Stafford and learn for a year and how he does it. And that's a very valuable tool for a young quarterback. You also can literally let him sit for the year, and Dable can groom him, so to speak, to be that next quarterback. To teach him things, show him things in motions, how to read things. He can learn what Stafford's doing to read things on the field during the games and all that. And you don't have to rush him.
Yeah, you could literally see like Dable go on the sideline as Stafford's in there to the new quarterback and like, see what he's doing here. This is why he's doing this. This is how you do that. And that's how you, like, it's literally like you're telling the person how to do it. You're showing the person how to do it, and you're going to allow them to do it in practice. And that's the best way to teach anyone anything. And
I don't mean 4 games like we did with Daniel Jones. I mean, legitimately let Stafford play the year, let the kid learn, and then you start him in 2026. Which sounds weird. It sounds so far away.
I know.
I just paused for a second. Like, is that the right year?
I was
But
like,
I saw you were doing the same thing in your head. Like, is that the right year too?
I was like,
But yeah, I mean, like I said, that to me makes a whole lot of sense to do that. But again, it's got to be the Rams are wanting to get rid of him, where they're going to take what is probably undervaluing what he's worth. Because I think to somebody, he could potentially be worth a first or a second and something else kind of scenario. But it's a matter of if a trade like this goes down, I'm going to put it this way. And I don't have any insight knowledge. I don't pretend to know this kind of stuff here. But if a trade goes down like this is a guy who brought a Super Bowl to the Rams. This is a guy that they're going to do what they think is not only in best interest of the franchise, but in best interest of the player as well, out of respect, I think. And if Matt Stafford says, hey, I want to go, they're going to let him go. They're going to trade him. They're not going to hold on to him. Now, if Stafford says, I want to go somewhere specifically, I don't know if they do that. And I don't know if Matt Stafford would want to play necessarily for the Giants specifically. But I look at the teams that are out there, what makes sense for a guy to go to quarterback-wise. Look at the team that needs a quarterback. The Panthers? No.
definitely won't go there.
Nothing to do with that. The Dolphins? Well, the Dolphins said today that Tua is coming back later this year. Or was it yesterday? Mike McDaniel said it yesterday or today. He said that. He expects Tua back. So your Stafford, you're not going there. Where would you go? The Giants is the logical.
Yeah, it's not like
to go.
It's not like he wants to become a Raider.
No, and that's a good option as well, technically to look at it for him. But yeah, I wouldn't want any part of that franchise whatsoever. And they just got rid of Devontae Adams, so you go from a team that doesn't have any weapons to another team that has no weapons. Why would you want to go there?
Yeah,
the Giants
no weapons and a worse record.
and he can go to the Giants as like the savior. Let's be very frank. He can be an average quarterback, and the fan base will love him because he's not Daniel Jones. I know the Daniel Jones lovers will hate me saying that, but it's the truth, guys. Even if you're somebody who loves Daniel Jones, you think he's not the problem, you have to admit that the fan base would be happy for anybody that's not Daniel Jones to be starting.
Yeah, especially listen, because everyone jumped up about Danny DeVito saying how great he was. Even the Jones lovers. Tommy, damn it, I always say Danny.
Because you're just watching Batman Returns.
No, I was watching It's Always Sunny. Romham!
Prepping for the game.
Yeah. But, yeah, he's like, we were excited to watch the third string quarterback play football and win games. What do you think is going to happen when a Super Bowl winning quarterback comes to this team and we start winning games?
Yeah.
And it's a no-brainer.
No, like I said, it's a no-brainer if the price is right in my eyes.
Yeah.
That's what it is. The price has to be right, okay? Like Drew Carey and Bob Barker need to collide together at that point, okay? And this spay and neuter their pets, okay? And hit the dollar on the wheel. Like that's what's got to happen. Like I honestly think if this scenario again, if it's true, even because it's like weird like social media reports kind of stuff. It's not like again, it's one of the major publications saying this. But if it is going down, and it wouldn't shock me because again, they shopped him around this offseason. It's not like the Rams haven't shopped Matt Stafford already. But if this goes around, we can get that kind of thing. Yeah. Here's the third round pick, or here's even 2 third-round picks or whatever, and you get Matt Stafford for the next year or two, and that's it. And you still get your quarterback of the future. It's great. The only concern I would have up front is, would Matt Stafford make this team so much better that we hurt our draft status in a positive way, if that makes sense? But that's a great problem to have, guys.
I was about to say, that's a good problem to have. Like, that's not something you should be upset.
And see, that's how upset Rob was over that suggestion. He left. But, and the other thing is that in that scenario, guys, we would still have a first round pick. So we can still have the first round pick next year as well. We can move up if we have to. Look at the guys who have been the can't miss prospect quarterbacks for the last 10 years. How many of those have actually been can't miss prospects? You know, Like how many of them really have been? Look at the guys who have been the first quarterbacks taken off the board. I'm look at this. Like Sam Darnold may not be the best example right now because he's playing really good with the the Vikings right now. But there's a classic example. He was a can't miss prospect. He was going to be a great quarterback at that point there. Bryce Young. Bryce Young's already flailing out in Carolina. Trevor Lawrence, we've said it before. He's like the per plus version of Daniel Jones. Joe Burrow's been good. Kyler Murray, has he really been that good? I mean, he's been an okay quarterback, but he's not taking them to any new heights, so to speak, there. Baker's gone from Cleveland on his fourth team, finally kind of seems to be getting everything rolling at that point. Jared Goff got traded away from the Rams at that point, so they didn't think they could win a Super Bowl with him. Jameis Winston's a backup in Cleveland. This is where I'm getting, like, the top quarterbacks are not always the best quarterbacks overall. Look at guys like Josh Allen. Look at guys like Lamar Jackson. Look at the guys like Patrick Mahomes. Like, a lot of these guys were mid first round picks. So just because you don't have the first overall pick doesn't mean you don't get a quarterback. Now, every so often you get a Joe Burrow or Andrew Luck that turns out to be great when everybody thought he's going to be great. But it's not a highest percentage you think, guys. So
if you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.